Well, thank you. Some more, maybe. All right. Thank you so much. So I'll just introduce today's topic, empowered choices, saying yes with a purpose and no without guilt. So, um, in today's very fast moving pace of life, right, we have tons of responsibilities, million obligations, and then we have many more expectations to be fulfilled, and we expectations from our bosses, from our colleagues, from our family members, from our friends. Did I leave any category out? And then we are in a race. We are trying to run ahead of time, which is kind of impossible, right? But then in that race, we ended up saying yes, and then we feel bad after saying yes, because we said yes because we want to please our bosses, or maybe want to don't want to disappoint friend, or do not want to disappoint our child or a sibling, and we ended up saying yes. And then there are times when you end up saying no, and then you again go into the cyclical thoughts of feeling bad because you said no. One of the reasons we end up doing that is fear of letting them down, right? But it costs our peace of mind, right? There is a whenever we do something, when the things are not really properly thought through, there's always some consequence about it. And one of which comes to my mind is that we lose our peace of mind and we just keep on thinking. And interesting thing is that we talk about it to everyone else rather than to the person whom we have said yes or no, because we want to get out of it, but we don't want to face the person, right? So I'll start this today's talk with a question. What do we need to do so we don't fall into this trap?
Anita, I want to start sharing a little bit of my experience of starting to be connected with the Brahma Kumaris in a very young age of 23. That's more than 40 years ago. And as all of you know, Brahma Kumaris is an organization, a spiritual organization that is related to India. Though Brahma Kumaris is a universal knowledge, of course, the culture of India is very much present in the Brahma Kumaris philosophy. And since right the beginning, we are taught that it's very elevated behavior to say Hanji, yes, yes, indeed. And of course, in the beginning, I said many times yes, because I was new, I was insecure, I was still finding my path. And I think that I took benefit from that because I got trust from my seniors. I also, challenged myself, things that I felt that I was not able to do, saying yes, I forced myself to do. So I think that I expanded my capacity. So I myself feel that I took a lot of benefit in many situations in saying yes. But as you said, life moves on and we keep acquiring many responsibilities. And sometimes we mechanically go on with whatever we have to do, all the tasks that we have to fulfill, and we end up very stressed, and not just that, quite unsatisfied, because many times we are doing things that we don't want to do. So from some time on, I started to analyze myself, and it's a question of self-knowledge, knowing myself, what was essential, what was priority, what was I really enjoyed doing what was very necessary for me to fulfill my role and the service that I was coordinating in Brazil. Because since I came to Brahma Kumaris, after 1 year and a half, I left my job and dedicated myself completely to this organization. And I think that this self knowledge brings maturity. So when you become more emotionally mature, spiritually mature, then you can evaluate exactly what is beneficial for you, how can you apply your time. And in many occasions, I started to say no. And now, even more because life has got a different speed, everything's so fast. And also because my body is not of 23 when I started. So, I mean, I got weight, obesity, and some problems with my knees, and this and that. So, I cannot do the same as I used to do. So, I started to say no more often, not because I'm not doing anything, but I'm just finding a new way of doing it. So I agree 100% with what you said, that we have to have this self-understanding to be able to feel that maturity, to be able to select what is necessary, what is more beneficial for you and also for others. I can give you an example. With the time that I am with the Brahma Kumaris, 46 years, there are not many teachers as experienced as I am. I myself run more than 20 centers in Brazil and have traveled so many countries around the world. So when I I choose my agenda, I take this in consideration. Why should I be doing things that others can do? Let me do what not many can do, so that I can take more benefit of my time and also give a chance for others to do. And for that, this maturity is also important, because sometimes the person keeps saying yes, 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 with the fear that others might do it. Sometimes others can even do it better than you. So there is that kind of fear. Am I going to lose my prestige? Am I going to lose my position? So I can give you another example. For so many years, for decades, I was the main translation from English to Portuguese in Brazil, to the point that Sister Mohini, whenever she would go to Brazil, she would just say, I just want you to translate and no one else, because she could feel that I would grasp her way of thinking. But now we have another sister, and I consider her as better than me in terms of translation. Apart from that, she's younger, full of vitality and all these kind of things. So since some time, I am giving her the position. We just had Sister Shivani with us. She was traveling in various places in Brazil for a week. And so three of us were traveling together, Sister Shivani, myself, and the translator. And she was like the official translator for lectures, for interviews. And what do I have to lose? The opposite. I don't have to lose anything. I mean, she came, let her use her specialty, and I use my time in any other way.
So, what I'm hearing from you is that as we start in any career or as we are younger, it's good to say yes, because it helps to expand our, experience, or challenge ourselves actually to learn things and all. But as we grow, it's okay to delegate and all.
That's
Delegate.
what happened with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I cannot say that the life of everyone would be different. But yes,
Yeah.
that's how it happened to me.
Yeah. Uh, so maybe I can ask you guys, what is your experience in your own, maybe in your offices or homes? Did you guys say yes to your family members or in your offices um, with any purpose? Anyone wants to share anything? Do you?
I am always the yes
They
person.
cannot listen.
Share how I can translate. Sometimes we just say yes, get things done, instead of waiting somebody to telling someone to how to do it, or
Yeah, she's saying something interesting. She's saying that sometimes we prefer to say yes, because whenever we think, oh, I'll have to teach the other how to do, I'll have to explain to the other how to do, so it's better if I do it. Then I don't have to have the job, That's an interesting point that she made.
Yeah.
But it's worth to train others, prepare others.
Yes.
Even it's a, yeah, if it's a sign, it's also a sign of kind of humility, we would say, because we are not going to be here forever. And as I said, our capacities, they enlarge in some aspects, but in other aspects, I'm not so agile as I used to be before. So, to be inclusive, it's always very beneficial.
Anyone from online want to share something or want to ask something? Okay. So maybe I can ask you to expand on it, that when we are, I know you gave examples, but how do we discern when we are saying yes, that we are saying yes, whether to please others or we are saying yes because it really is a value added, aligned effort?
I think that, first of all, we have to know very clearly our purpose of life, the principles that we have to follow to be full of exit, full of success in our lives. Especially in my case, that I have chosen to be a Brahma Kumari, I have very clear understanding that there are some guidelines that I have to follow to fulfill my responsibility and the principles that I have to do. So whatever is against these principles, obviously I would say no. So many situations, and it might be different for all of you because you haven't selected to be completely dedicated to the philosophy of Brahma Kumaris. But for instance, I can give you one example. For us in Brahma Kumaris, the morning hours are like the main time for you to fulfill spiritually yourself. So if I have to renounce some activities in the evening, it could be family activity, it can be leisure, it can be study, it can be any other thing. I will always prioritize the morning. So many times I had to say no to friends, to family. Of course, in some situations, I sacrifice my desire, my will. I can give you an example. About a few months ago, a group of friends from childhood, they wanted to meet somewhere in a restaurant in the evening. I mean, people that I studied when I was 14, 15 years old, can you imagine? So it was a great pleasure to meet them. So I had to go and be with them for that. It's not usual that I go to a restaurant, and there I just had something to drink, and that was all. So I mean, in some situations, when I think that it's appropriate, I will say yes or no, but I will not attend to such events every evening or every week. So you asked about how do we get this discernment? And discernment, it's just possible if you have clarity in your mind. Clarity to know yourself, to know what is valuable for you, to know what is beneficial to you. And also, you know, the consequences of that. So sometimes it's a kind, you have to compromise a little bit, but, you know, you do. And I can give you another example. In all family get together, my mother has just celebrated 92. So she and my sisters and nephews and so on, they went to have lunch outside in a restaurant. And I said, there's no purpose for me to eat in a restaurant because I don't eat the food that you eat and so on. And so after the meal at the restaurant, they were going to meet at her apartment and have cake and sweets. And so I said, I come for that time. So, you know, you don't say no and you don't say yes. You just see what is appropriate. Not to compromise your lifestyle. You don't go to the restaurant because in Brazil it's just meat and that kind of thing that they eat. But at the same time, I wanted to be with my mom. I wanted to be with my family. So I went afterwards. So it's also a question of being wise. And wisdom just comes with spiritual maturity and with mental clarity. This we have to be very sure about it. Because, you know, like once you have mental clarity, life becomes easier because you know when to say yes and when to say no. It becomes very clear what is appropriate. And also the way that you said, you know, like there are ways you don't have to be hard. No, you don't have to do like that. You can explain the reasons and why and so on, even if they mock at you, like my sisters. I have two sisters and they mock at me all the time. She says, oh, the saint has come. And I laugh with them, you know, maybe they are right. You know.
So what I'm hearing from you is that knowing yourself. I'm sorry. Sorry about it. So what I'm hearing from you is knowing yourself as you grow, in your work experience, as you grow in age and all. Knowing yourself really helps to discern what is right and to keep that balance, right, where you are not really just a people pleaser, but you please yourself, right? Does anyone want to share anything about you guys made any choices where you were pleasing others and then try to find the balance later on? Anyone? No? Okay.
It happened with me at my work as a teacher, special education teacher, and I was given extra responsibilities, and they had gotten rid of the supervisory position, and then they selected an IEP teacher, and who was given the role of some of the responsibilities of the supervisor. And since I knew how to do the work very well, I took that upon myself. And I thought it was beneficial. I was going to learn more and grow more. And I was kind of able to get rid of some of the teaching periods and given time to do this kind of job. And I was helping the entire special education population, all the teachers, to do their IEPs. So I did get my perks and benefits. But then I felt that I was like taking too much upon myself, and which kind of hastened my retirement. And when I look back at it, I would have still done the same because it gave me a lot of perks. And early retirement was beneficial for me another way, because I was able to enjoy my travel and all these other things and spend more time with family and children. So it was beneficial taking that and learning a lot more. So it really did help me. But then after early retirement at the age of 56, I was allowed to go back for just a few days to do no teaching, just the IEP work. And then at that time, when the principal tried to impose more teaching on me, I was able to put my foot down and say, no, sorry, my health doesn't allow me. I cannot do that. So she says, fine, then in that case, somebody has to do it. I said, then hire somebody else, because I'm retired. There was a reason why I took this retirement. So I was happily able to say no and just get out of it. And I didn't care about commuting a whole hour to go to the Bronx to be able to teach, to do additional teaching in addition to do all the administrative work. So I was happy that I was able to put my foot down. So the bottom line is you have to be secure. When you say no, I knew I was going to get my pension, my social security, whatever the other benefits. So I didn't care. Plus, my husband was also retiring at the same time. And that really worked, because right that same year and the next year we went on cruises. We enjoyed our retired life while we were still young. So this is my experience of when to say yes and when to say no.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing it. Yeah, I think you just proved the point what Sister Luciana was sharing, right? That you can take responsibility to expand and to learn.
Right.
Then, as you grow into it, you learn your own limitations and boundaries and priorities. Mainly, you learn your priorities, and that's what you did, and that's wonderful. These are all work related and all. How about something from home? In home also, we often end up saying yes to children and parents and husbands. Anyone wants to share something about that? Yes.
I feel sometimes in some situations it's easy to say no or yes when needed, but especially when there is some emotional bond or when there is authority and authority mixed with an emotional bond, then it becomes much more, at least in my case, more difficult. So where do you get the courage? And also the courage to face the consequences?
Yeah, I want to say something. I mean, there are quite three different subjects. What you said about pleasing, she said about the burden of a lot of activities. She's asking about this facing the authority. First, I would like to address this aspect of the pleasing aspect. I understand that it's a kind of disease that we have in our world nowadays. The fact that people, it seems that they live to get the approval from others. It seems that they want to be loved. This has grown to a proportion that it doesn't seem healthy anymore. Because if we would develop more self-love and would depend less of the appreciation from others, maybe we would be more emotionally independent. So I see many around me, including, and even sometimes I feel bad because they do this with me, people trying to please me, to get my attention and so on. And it's all because there is a crisis in terms of self-respect. Dari Janki, who passed away in 2020, but was our international mentor for many, many years. And she used to say something very deep. She used to say that in India, they don't have the same problem of lack of self-respect that we have here in the West. And the way that she used to explain that, it was that in India, they live in extended families. So if the mother doesn't give love, an auntie would give love. If the father is not an authority figure, the brother or the nephew would be an authority figure. So they grow up surrounded by examples that each one fulfill part of our emotional need. But in the West, more and more, we live in nuclear families, small families. Many times, even parents are separated, so you live just with your mom or just with your dad, and sometimes just one brother or just one sister, very small families. So your input comes from the media, your input comes from the school, your input comes from the family, the friends circle. So, like that self-respect doesn't come from a safe basis. So in this way, we grow up having this need for the love of others. And because we want from others, two things happen. When you want, then you feel depleted. It's just like parts of you are not fulfilled, especially because we are all different and other people cannot exactly respond to whatever is best for you. But second thing is that when you grow with this tendency just to take from others, you stop this very natural, higher tendency of human soul, which is to give. So as we are givers, we depend less of taking from others. And especially, again, I'm going to mention about the spiritual maturity and related to this. To take, it's a sign of a child. It's a soul who is in its infancy, because it's the child that it's dependent, asking, and all the time wanting attention. But a now adult should be someone more at the position of giving. So it's all about working in yourself, reclaiming this self-respect, reclaiming this self-love, and being more independent, not in terms of being alone, not in terms of separating yourself, but independent in terms of others should be like together with us, but we should not depend on completing ourselves with others. So this is the first thing. What she said, which is very appropriate, maybe we should have a balance in life. You need to fulfill your family requests. You have to fulfill your work requests. You have to fulfill your bodily requests. You have to fulfill your spiritual requests. And you also have to fulfill this capacity of giving, of serving others. So it seems that there are 5 main areas in life. So what she said, now that she got her retirement in quite a young age of 57, I think, that she 56, 57. So she still has a lot of life and a lot of energy. She can do a lot still in life. But I think that we have to look at these 5 areas and be very wise using time, money, energy accordingly. Because if you don't pay attention to your body when you are supposed to, you're going to pay the bill later on in life. And the same, if you don't give attention to your family now, you are going to pay the bill later on. Or if you don't give attention to your job, you're not going to have your insurance at the end, and all of this. So we have to be quite good business people in organize and distribute the time, the energy, the money, the attention in all these areas. And I think that whenever something put in risk this well-being, we should say no. like you can say yes in a special situation. Like if you have a visitor, then you might compromise your day-to-day routine for 1 week or something like this. But you cannot do that on and on and on. And in the aspect of Sister Rona, what she mentioned about authority, I understand very much what she says, because many people come to me with that same complaint. And though I have a little different experience in my life, because I don't have this fear of authority like many people have. And again, I think that there are ways that we can explain, there are ways that we have to say and give a reason for our behavior, but I cannot sacrifice what is important for me just because someone, even if that person is more important, let us say, than me. But we do have to be clear that I might be cut in some situations. And I have faced, and it's not a pleasant experience. It's not a pleasant. Once I was in the team of the special ones, of the one who is our most senior sister. I was part of that selected team. Now I am no more. And like you have to choose in life how much you are going to sacrifice what you think that it's important in terms to please others. Because, whoever it is, it might be husband, wife, or it might be your boss or whatever. Of course, they would like to have around them people who are easy, people who accept everything. Of course, all of us want like that, right? Anyone wants to have someone complicated around you? Or anyone likes to have someone who says no to you? I mean, we know that that's life and that's human beings. But we also cannot, like, for how long are we going to be saying that and not allowing our expression? And just to conclude this, whatever is in your karma will come to you. So if it doesn't come through that person who is in higher position, it will come to you from other side. But whatever is yours will always be yours. We'll always find a way to reach you.
Your explanation have opened two categories. One is the fear of authority. So I want to share something, and it's happened with a family friend of ours. He's a pharmacist. He's a pharmacist, works in pharmaceutical companies and all. Very nice guy. And in his 50s or so, he ended up working with a boss who was really, really good in putting down and very, very nasty in using words. He couldn't say no. He could not leave that job. He literally went into depression and tried to take his life twice, not only once, twice. When I heard that, I was literally shocked that somebody so mature, an adult whom I know so well, can really take a 180-degree spin. So my question to you is, the fear of authority is there at homes and even in jobs. Is there something you can suggest as at least as a starting point where we can start, somebody who is struggling with this can start unwinding that fear from the personality and take a path towards finding that that balance where you say, this is what I need for myself, and I don't need to be fearful and saying no. Would there be a starting point?
Yeah. In our lives, we are working all the time with three kinds of energies. One energy that comes from the thoughts, the vibrations, one energy that comes from our words, and one energy that comes from our deeds, from our actions. So, in facing a situation of authoritarian person, can be a boss, can be a spiritual leader, can be a member in the family, I think that we might think these three ways of facing the situation and finding different tactics, different skills to do with that situation. For instance, in the aspect of actions, you might do what it's asked from you, for instance, in terms of the boss, but just do it as if you are not doing for him, but you are doing because it's right to do, because it's your responsibility in that employment to do. Or, it's good to you, you are learning, you find the reason for continuing with your action, not necessarily just thinking that you are doing because you are obliged to do, but you find a reason to take benefit of that action. In terms of words, you try to learn some techniques that can help you in dealing with abusive people. Some abusive people you have just to move away from them if you can. In some situations you cannot, like family, for instance, you cannot move away. But there are some techniques or tactics. For instance, there is one very good study called nonviolent communication. And this nonviolent communication that was created by a psychologist called Marshall here in the United States, it's very interesting because he teaches us like this. If the other person is being abusive, is being angry, is being disrespectful, it's because they are needing something. If they would be satisfied, they would not be abusive. So from your side, you can say like this. The person says bad words for you, and you can reply something like this. What I am understanding from what you are saying is that you feel that I am irresponsible. You feel that I am idiot. So let's see the reason why are you thinking like that. Is it because that day I didn't give you the work on time? Or is it because when you asked me to go somewhere, I didn't go immediately? So try to explain to me, why are you classifying myself as irresponsible? So instead of you rejecting, or instead of you taking that offense to yourself as if, he's like almost killing me with his words, you try to make him to reflect. Okay, what is the reason why I'm calling her so bad? Yeah. And in terms of vibrations, it's even easier and more significative. Many times we cannot say or we cannot do differently, at least at that moment. But in terms of the vibrations, we can change. For instance, you can put an armor of light around you so that whatever the person does or says doesn't hit you. You can remind yourself of who you are and remind yourself of your qualities and just ignore what is coming from outside. It's just like you're protected. You can even meditate and send vibrations and surround that person with some golden light, so to protect you. You can even prepare some cake or some dish and invite the person for a cup of tea, or even give those sweets as a gift to the person, full of vibrations. So there are ways that you can find to penetrate that anger. Because if the person is angry, abusive, it's because they are hurt. If at the moment that you understand that they are hurt, then you don't think that they are bad people. They are not bad people. They are just in bad mental state, or they are people who have suffered in their lives.
Yeah. I think you made such a valuable point that if you think that the person who is really abusive because they lack something, they're seeking something, they're not, so they are hurt, so you actually, it helps you not to sink in the hurt what you thought is coming towards you. You actually turn it around and make the other person reflect on themselves. I think it's such a valuable point you share. uh, what do you guys think? It can change the game. It's very, very nice. And I love about the vibrations that you can actually take a cake full of vibrations and give them. And I think something sweet in mouth might also makes the sweet words come out of them, right? It's very hard to be rude to someone who is nice to you, right? Uh, yeah.
I have a story that just I remember the other day. I've been coming to the United States since many, many years because of the Brahma Kumaris. And there was an incident many years ago when one of our senior sisters came here, Dari Gulzar. She came to New York for a very short period, and I was here. And for us, it's a long distance and quite expensive ticket. And for some reason, I thought that I deserved to be invited for her program. It happened that I was not. I felt really upset. You know, I felt really, really upset, and because it was a lot of movement and agitation, because it was a big thing and so on. So there was not even chance to go and to speak and to clarify and so on. And the person who was instrument to say no to me, and in a kind of harsh way and so on. During all these years, I had kept a little bit of a distance to her. Nothing wrong. She has never done any other thing bad to me, nothing like that. But you keep a little bit that distance for more than 20 years now. But I've seen the last few years that I've been meeting this person, she changed. She's quite nice to me, very pleasant, very respectful, very smiling. And, I came to know that for one period of her spiritual life, she was very much in sorrow. I don't know the details because we were not very close, and it's not the question, but she was not very satisfied. So, you see, now with my maturity, I can see maybe at that moment, she said that not because of me or anything like that, but because she was so frustrated and I was the one appearing in front of her. So you see, when you have this maturity, everything
Becomes easy.
is interpreted in a different way. And life becomes much
Pleasant.
pleasant and easier,
Yeah,
because you don't keep carrying with you any bad feelings and so on, and everything is resolved, and you understand that anything that happens has a reason. Nothing happens without a motive.
Yeah. So reason could be something negative, that somebody is hurt and all. But what I'm hearing, what we say in our spiritual knowledge is that you give what you have. If they have hurt and pain, that's what they are going to reflect on you. So to change the game, you fill yourself with positivity, love, and compassion. So that's what you give it to them. That's like giving a cake, right? Baking a cake with vibrations and taking. So that's wonderful.
Rona is asking, how do we get to that maturity? Definitely it's not physical age, because there are many people physically mature, but very mature emotionally. I mean, in my life, I have been taking a lot of support of some basic things that we learn here in the Brahma Kumaris. And one of them is from the spiritual knowledge. You know, like if you start to understand the laws, spiritual laws that govern your functioning, the functioning of relationships, the functioning of the world, I think that as we go deeper and deeper in the understanding of spiritual knowledge, then that's the main difference. No, what brings more result. Together with this, there is a obvious kind of thing that it requires some spiritual power. Because, you know, sometimes you want to be a certain way, but you don't have the power to apply that. So this power has to be earned through meditation, earned through following some disciplines, earned on making some special attention or effort. I don't like much the word effort because it seems hard, but attention, some special attention. So, you know, like it requires that you don't just sit down waiting it to come. You have to do something. And what has been helping me also is that I have been involved in the spiritual service, as we call it, from the Brahma Kumaris. And just coming in contact with other people, you learn so much. You learn because other people inspire you. You learn because you do something wrong and then you notice that you have done wrong. You know, just this living and sharing and working with others makes us to grow so much. And that has been one of my mantra recently, that people who live alone and just keep on Zoom classes or Zoom work or just buy food by the internet and just buy goods from the internet. They don't interact with human beings.
Yeah.
I doubt they can mature.
They interact with screens all the time.
I'm not saying about the people there because I love the internet and I attend many classes through the internet, and the reasons why they are in the internet, at the internet, I'm not judging, I don't know. But I'm saying for people that, you know, they do home office, they buy iFood, they buy from Amazon, whatever they need. They call their friends by, you know, like online meeting. So which challenge do they have in life? Because you mature when your personality rubs with the other people.
And they get upset when they don't get likes.
Huh?
They get upset when they don't get likes on their post, right? Unknown people, no friends and nothing but the number, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They lack maturity. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I know we are running out of time, but I wanted to ask you a question. You touched on nucleus families.
Mhm.
And I think in today's trend, that is becoming the norm of the society, even in India, right? And in nucleus family, like you said, when it's a joint family, the kids and not just children, but everyone else grow up with self-respect because you get nurturing from so many people. But now, because nucleus family is the norm, so this yes and no is a game of, between parent and child, especially, is a game of blackmailing kind of thing. Um, and there is always a guilt when the parents say no, and when children say no, it's you feel like they are not coming up to the plate as a parent, not helping and all. Is there anything you would specifically say to the parent and children of the nuclear families to get out of this trap or not to fall in the trap?
I am unmarried, so I don't have children, but I do have sisters and nieces and nephew, and now grand nieces and nephews. And I see how they treat their children and also students from the Brahma Kumaris and so on. And I must say that I'm still a little bit old fashioned. I am not someone into this permissive trend. I still think that father is father, mother is mother, till they go out from the house and start to earn their salary. When they start to earn their salary, then they can live how they want, they can eat what they want, they can dress how they want, they can go where they want, but until they live at home, I'm still from the old generation. And why I say that? Because, like mothers have become afraid to face their children. Maybe because of the reason that I said before, because they are going to lose the love of the child. And also because, there is a wrong understanding of the role of the parents. Somehow the society has created this kind of slogan that the parents should be the friends of the children. So they many times abdicate their parental attitude to be friends of them. I can give you an example to conclude. We have this very mature BK sister. She's a psychologist, very old student of ours. She's not from the part where I am. She's from the north. And I was visiting there. And she came with this question for me. She has divorced, and she has one son and one daughter, more than 25 years old. Both of them live with her, with an age that they should be working and living their own life, right? But they live with her, they depend on her. And most of you who have been attending the Brahma Kumaris know that we follow vegetarian diet. And like if you follow the vegetarian diet, you respect who is not a vegetarian. But it's very unpleasant in your own house to open the fridge and see a piece of meat there. So she told me in the gathering, when there was a time of questions and answers, what to do that their children don't want to be vegetarian. So she has to respect them. She has to be friends of them. She cannot oblige them to be vegetarian. So she has to allow them to bring whatever food they want. I said, I don't think so. First part, what you said, it's all okay. You should not oblige anyone to do anything, but you should make a deal with them. Tell them that, okay, they can eat whatever food they want outside, but not in your home. Or you can say, even if you want to bring non-veg food in the house, it's okay, but buy it from outside and eat here. But don't cook in my stoves, on my stove, don't put in my fridge, etc. And she said, I don't agree because they are my children. They are my children, more than 25 years old. You know, so when are you going to live your life? When are you going to live your life? You know, I will never be able to understand such a decision, because you are already negotiating, you are already offering the opportunity for them to eat whatever they want outside, or even to bring ready-made food. But here in the house, but she didn't agree. So, you know, this permissive kind of attitude, I think that it's not beneficial for the parents and it's not beneficial for the children. So, you know, I think so.
So I think in conclusion, what I'm hearing from you is whether, no matter what situation it is, whether it's always, you have to find the balance first within you, the courage within you, and you need to know yourself, right? You empower yourself, you know yourself, you bring some kind of a courage and balance, and then you execute, whether you say yes with a purpose or you say no without guilt. And you will choose the right moment. You will have the ability and the courage to do so. Thank you so much. May we have a little small meditation with you so we learn how to, where to put the attention. You said that's important, right? To build the.
So thank you, Anita. Thank you very much for your wise questions. And thank you, everyone who was here, and especially the ones there. It was a pleasure to be with you this evening and make this reflection to yourself, especially tomorrow morning when you sit to meditate. How are you going to be so clear to use your time, energy, everything to guide your life as you want? So let's sit one moment in reflection and just observing your breath, just allowing his attention, bringing you into a new state of concentration. And slowly you start to see that your whole body responds to this gentle movement of your breath, and you feel more relaxed, allowing positive and good energy to come in as you inhale, and allowing all the tiredness, any discomfort to go out as you exhale. Just do some movements with attention so that you bring back that feeling of who you are, the spiritual being, the peaceful being, light energy that has all the original qualities. I am. I am peace. I am love. I am a happy being. I am a powerful being. Just remind yourself with these powerful affirmations. Bring your consciousness again in this understanding of who you really are. And to feel that you are empowered with more energy, with more clarity. You just position yourself facing a spiritual, the divine being, and just open yourself to receive this current of benevolence that makes you feel accepted, makes you feel valued. This love that radiates from the divine being helps you to feel powerful. Just stay in this state of positive vibration, receiving these feelings for one moment before coming back. So now paying attention again to your breath and bringing this renewed energy in yourself. Om Shanti.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time and company. And thank you, everyone who was online. We appreciate your time also. Thank you. Thank you, Bert,
Thank
for
you.
being
Thank
with
you.
us.
Bye-bye.
Good
Very
night.
helpful. Good night.
Thank you, Sister Luciana, for your valuable thoughts. Thank you.
This is, do I know him? I don't think I know.